Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of Safe Space for Men. I'm your host as usual. Before we get started, please remember to rate, review, like, subscribe, download, and share the podcast. I truly appreciate it. Today I'm joined by a very good friend of mine, host and creator of the DosCinco podcast, creator of Kadan TV, where he amassed a large following, well-known battle rap artists such as Hollow Man, Quilly, Show Tizzy, Joey Jihad, Meek Mill. He has also interviewed John Dawkins, who was formerly a teacher. He wanted to own, I believe, 3 or 4 McDonald's franchises. Angel and Danny Garcia, Tim Jacobus. If you are age, he used to do the illustrations for Goosebumps books. I had damn near every book. King Saladin, Alex Vasquez, who was buying up everything in Camden, making the bands eat nuts. He's also newly engaged. And he's also the creator of the hottest new run club in Philly, the Blue Tape Run Club. And most importantly, he's a great dad. It's my God, DosCinco to my right.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. First of all, I love the bio, man. Sometimes I'm like, who is that guy, man?
I love it when cause I normally do it for everybody, but I love it when it's like, it's a lot of stuff. I like to like, wait, there's more. Wait,
Absolutely.
There's more. Before we get into all, as I do with everybody, mental health check. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I would probably say maybe from 1 to 10, maybe 7.
Okay.
I feel like I can never be a 9 and 10 because I'm always trying to look for ways to just improve myself. I feel like we at a 10, it's like, there's nothing for you to improve. So I think mentally I'm just always at around a 7, if that makes sense.
Okay, I think that's a balanced way to think of it. And to be at, if you're at a 10, and it's like almost being perfect.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
always happy all the time. That's not realistic.
Right. So, my first question, while we get started, I'm gonna go like, what was your reason and thinking behind like starting a run club? And I gotta say, like, I was never a runner. My guy reached out to me, I'm starting this run club. And like, I always had nerves about running. I remember the first time I ran with y'all, like, I was like, as soon as I hit the corner of the Art Museum, it was like my heart dropped. I'm like, damn, I still got 2.9.
Yeah.
But now I love running. Like, I hate that it's cold and I can't run. I'm not an outside cold run. I'm black. It's not happening. But I really look forward, to our next run. But yeah, what was your thinking behind that?
I think for me, honestly, being a dad, being obviously a spouse, hard worker, at my job and trying to do business as well on the side. Sometimes you need some kind of camaraderie with with people that are like-minded and also other men, like just to be around a community, a tribe. And I felt like I lacked that, because I'm around my kids, so I'm relating to children. And then I'm around my spouse, so I'm talking to a woman. Okay. I'm at my job, so I can't really be myself, myself, but not as authentic as I would like to be. Okay. And then I'm hardly around anybody that's, a male figure that I can talk to, So I thought I just wanted to create a brotherhood. I wanted to create a community. And I know that every community usually starts off small, but why did I choose running? Well, I chose running because that can be an activity that people can come together and do. Right. What I want to do, obviously, is kind of expand it outside of running and just make it more of a social club. Okay. Where we have a community, even worldwide if necessary. I'll go to California, we got brothers there. Go to Nashville, brothers there. Florida. That's the way I'm visualizing it. Because like you said, like I wasn't a runner neither. I remember, shout out to Elaine Gonzalez Johnson. I mean, she has Latinas in Motion. And she has Conwell. Yeah, Conwell. So she has Latinas in Motion, where she got chapters, she got all these women that are all together, and I love that. And then, I'm gonna be honest, I watch a lot of documentaries on the mafia, on biker gangs, on this, but I'm not looking at it from a crime aspect. I'm looking at it of organization, of community, of brotherhood. People sometimes signify themselves, a certain way. So anyway, long story short, I just wanted a community, brotherhood, and, and people you can go to, you know?
It's definitely a brother. And I will say this, like being amongst y'all, the first thing, I ain't gonna lie, that y'all changed for me besides being able to run is, I mean, because at a certain point I cuss like a sailor.
Yep.
And I noticed that, like, when I got around you, one, you're not really a person that curses. Like, you gotta really be like there.
Right.
So immediately, it's not like a requirement, but like immediately it was like, you know what, like these guys don't talk like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it changed my way of thinking. But also, I remember it was a couple times I came out the run, like I had like some shit going on.
Right.
And I got there, and immediately it was like, I think it was that day that I got there late.
Mm-hmm.
But like but even though I missed half the run, but when I got there, like the energy was different. We talked for a minute.
Yep.
And it just like whatever I had going on, I forgot about it. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Even if it was just for those couple hours, but it's definitely it's like a form of therapy. You know what I'm saying? It really is. Like being around is like a form of therapy. So.
Absolutely. And honestly, like if we really want to look at it, you know, like say for instance, I have an app called the Growth Therapy, right? Where sometimes I am talking to a therapist virtually, maybe once a week or so forth. And I'm literally just talking and chatting it up with them and, you know, sometimes expressing myself about certain things that are going on that week. And that person is helping me get through it. So you got to look at these groups sort of like that, because what you are thinking about or what you're going through, somebody probably has already gone through and maybe can advise you other way,
right.
you know, or just simply getting it out is therapy in you know, in itself versus dealing with it in your own head. So a lot of times it's not supposed to come out like that. When you're running, you're just running. But then when we meet up and we talking about stuff.
Right, yeah, we talking about stuff. We talking about the things we going through. But yeah, therapy. I'm a big advocate for therapy. I've done it. I tell people like I didn't go in and meet with a therapist, but I did the same thing. I use BetterHelp.
Yep.
But I got a great therapist. She's an old white lady, but
Yep.
like she talked to me like when I'm messing up, like she's my mother, or like not like she's my friend. Like no, you know you weren't supposed to do that.
Yep.
That was dumb. We talked about this 3 months ago. Like you reverting back, like holding me accountable. And I think we all need.
We all need it, man.
Yeah.
We all need it, because if you really look at it, even when you look at like my parents and even, you know, their parents, nobody talked. You know, it was not masculine to go out and speak about your feelings.
Right.
You know, nobody's saying we cry babies and we whining. No, but we got to unpack stuff sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the reason why, like, say for instance, my dad doesn't do therapy, right? And this is no shade to him, but he was raised differently. And I'm like, you know what? I need to talk to somebody because I'm not happy right now. I got all this stuff going on. I need to figure this thing out because I'm not trying to live my life miserable and then project it onto the kids or project it onto my spouse or project it on the other people. So I got to talk it out and I got to figure it all out, because you have a study. I mean, it's all about psychology. So you have so many people that have studied the brains. Now, I'm not disagreeing with it, but I don't recommend it. You have talk therapy and then you have them therapists where they just want to throw a pill at you. I don't agree with that, because I feel like you shouldn't be trying to medicate this person in order to get past something.
Right.
Teach them how to go about it so that way they can do it without prescribing a pill.
I feel like they want to do it everything. The way around everything now is a pill or a shot. Like
right.
It's like you want to lose weight, get a shot. You want to, live longer, get it. But then it's like side effects from that. And like you said, it kind of like masks the problem. Like you're not dealing with the problem.
Nope.
It's just you're getting a pill and you don't feel. But then 8 hours after that, I got to take another pill and another pill. So
and if you really look at it, right? So I've had family members that have self-medicated in the past. So they've taken heroin, they've done weed, they've done alcoholic beverages. Those are all forms of prescriptions to try to ease and stop the pain, right? I mean, that's why a lot of people usually go through drug abuse because of that, right? So it ain't no different from it being legal, where these people want to throw a pill at you versus getting it at the corner. It's all the same crap. People ain't dealing with their feelings. They busy trying to numb their pain.
That's true. I ain't gonna lie, that's true. How many? I know you ran a bunch of races. How many medals you win last year?
So
you was knocking them down.
Yeah, hey man, somebody got to do it, But I ended up, I ran 5 races. The goal last year, though, was I wanted to run a marathon. I didn't get a chance to do it, but I ran 2 half marathons, and I ran 1 10K, and then I ran, I think, 1 5K. I think that was all 5. I'm not sure.
And you did the Rocky Run.
I did the Rocky Run. The Rocky Run was a half marathon, so it was the Italian Stallion, so it was 13.1, so I did that. But the reason why I started doing more of these endurance races, like you said, right, I was happy just doing 5Ks and calling it a day. But what happened was, I think a year ago, I wanted to run the Rocky Run, But when I registered late, and the 5Ks were closed. The only thing that was open was the 10 miler.
Okay.
So I'm like, I still want to do the Rocky Run. I'm gonna go ahead and do the 10 miler. So after I registered, I said, well, you registered, you just paid $100 and something. You got to get it done. So what I did was I ended up training for it. So I went from 3 miles to 5 miles. Once I hit 5 miles, I never ran 5 miles in my life. Once I hit 5 miles as far as training, then I said, okay, up it up to 7. Hit 7, then I finally hit 10. Once you hit 10, you like, I'm in the game. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So then when I finally ran the Rocky Run 10 miles, I was cool. I wasn't exhausted, nothing, because I trained for it.
Right.
That taught me, once you break those mental barriers and you surpass what you had in your mind, you can do anything. Huh?
I have learned it about running because I every time I got like a plateau, I'll send it to you like, yo, look what I did today.
Yeah.
Because I started out I would run to Edison and run 2 miles. Then one day I was just like, that was when you started dropping your pods, I think last summer.
Yep.
I put your pod on and like literally as I was about to end, it was one of the episodes where you was talking about like something about pushing through or just, do a little more than you're supposed to. And I was just like, all right, I did 3 miles. Then the next day I came back, I did 4. Then I start going down to Art Museum. Now I run so much. Well, when I'm running, I don't like running at the track no more. I need to run outside where I can run
absolutely
like 7-8 miles.
Yep.
And I'll run all the way down to Wharton. Now I gotta come back.
You have to come back.
It's my car's not here, so it's forcing myself to run like 7-8 miles every time I go. And what I have noticed, the first mile or two is the hardest, but after that, it's really about just pacing yourself, breathing, taking your rest, and walking a little bit when you have to, but just pacing yourself. The first 2 miles, once I get through that, like I'm cool. I'm never really out of breath. It's more like I'm a little like I'm winded maybe. But
absolutely.
Not winded, I'm like tired, but I'm not. It's like I said, it's probably more mental, but I've never felt like damn, I can't do this after the first 2 miles.
Because the thing is, if you really look at it, and I know you work out, you in the gym, right? When you first go to the gym, you're not overly hyped. No, you gotta warm up. That's the reason why when we were in gym class in school or whatever, they always start off with stretching and warming up.
Right.
And then you jump into it, right? So those first 2 miles, they're very difficult because as you're running, literally what I'm telling myself is, man, I don't feel like doing this right there. I feel like going home. I don't feel like running. But then once you hit that groove around 3, 4, 5 miles, now you in there. Because now you put yourself in a trance, and it's almost like autopilot. It's like driving, right?
Yeah.
You do the same routine every day to the point where you can literally get to your destination and not even feel the ride, not even feel the journey, because you're not aware of what's going on. Same thing with running. It's so what I do, and I actually learned this from David Goggins, and for those that don't know, David Goggins is an endurance runner. That bull's intense.
He's insane.
He's insane, bro. He's insane, but he's one person he weighed over 300 pounds. His life was just not great at all. And he wanted to join the military. He wanted to be a Marine. They told him he had to lose 100 and something pounds in order to even qualify for trying out. And so he did it in I think he lost 100 and something pounds in like 1 or 2 months. God. Yeah. And his mental, anyway, long story short, he's running. He doesn't run with headphones at all. He doesn't need no music, no nothing. And I learned that from him. So a few years ago, I started running without headphones. He was like, because when you're doing the long endurance, when those headphones cut off, who's going to motivate you?
Right.
Is 50 Cent or Nicki Minaj going to motivate you, or do you got to motivate yourself? So I noticed that when I run without headphones, I literally go 1 mile after another, and it's such a peace, serene, therapeutic type of experience that when you start to hit those roadblocks, now you got to psych yourself up and you got to start motivating yourself in order to get through it. And when you get through it, you're like, man, I can accomplish anything. Sweet. I love it.
I'm gonna jump to something else. I want to talk about just like fatherhood, like the mental health side of it. I think like we both dads, we go through it. I think a lot of times you go through pockets where you feel like you're not doing enough, maybe you're doing too much, in the way you handle your kids. So like, what's been the most like difficult or challenging part about being a dad?
I think facing the reality that you have lives that are totally dependent on you and nobody else.
Right.
I think that's something that's very telling in the beginning because, there's a difference between fathers that are present and people just having kids and just abandon. I can't do that. I don't have it in me to just have a kid and not take care of my child, right? And so my thing is when these kids, I remember the first time my son was brought into this world. And when he came and I'm looking at him, I'm like, man, this is like mine forever.
Right.
Like I got to take care of him,
Right.
and I got to make sure that he's good. So I think it's just that realization that it's on you, but also the fact that you're learning as you go, because I've never been a father before.
Right.
So this is the first time. So it plays on your mental, but then everything becomes about them.
Right.
You providing for them. You literally sacrifice yourself to put them on a pedestal to make sure they have everything that they need. So that right there, I mean, it's enough in itself. It gives you purpose, it gives you drive, but it's also something where it can be, you want them to succeed in this world. So it's a lot of worry. It's a lot of you always constantly thinking about them on a regular basis.
I think like, you got boys, I got girls. I think for me, I had to find the balance, because if I had boys, I feel like it wouldn't matter necessarily how aggressive or like where my discipline was at. But with girls, you gotta be really gentle but stern.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that was always the struggle for me. And I don't even know if I mastered it yet. But like I know early on with my older girls, it was because these are babies, so like they do something wrong. The way I was brought up isn't necessarily the way that I could discipline them, because I was brought up by old school people from down south. Go outside, get some off the tree. Mm-hmm. That doesn't always work with girls or with this generation of kids. So that was the biggest struggle for me, finding the balance, like with the discipline, and just how you talk to them. Because again, I had 6 uncles, and it was motherfucker, you do like it was that's what I'm used to. Yeah, but you can't have that same delivery with girls. So that was always my struggle.
So when did you learn to find that balance?
I think I want to say I think it was probably Gabby's senior year, which would be last year, and when Jordan turned 5, because the biggest change I made probably like 2 or 3 years ago with my kids is I learned to not yell at them in the morning, or whatever the issue is, don't start the day out with it. Like whether if I wake up and there's dishes in the sink and you know you're supposed to clean the dishes, have the conversation differently. Gotcha. As opposed to now, if it's like 3-4 o'clock and you ain't that's something else. But because I forgot whose podcast I was watching, but they were saying that the study said that kids that start the day out being yelled at or disciplined, like it completely throws their day off. So having a 17-year-old who's developing and about to be out in the world, and then a 5-year-old who is just now starting school, it just doesn't work. So it's taught me to be a little more patient. Honestly, I've learned a lot more patience over the last couple of years, even now with Jordan. 'Cause Jordan is, I think that's why I always say like she's my last kid, but she's the one who like.
She's trying you.
Oh, she burns me because she. But it's not. I don't think it's in a bad. I just think she just loves her dad, and like she's gonna come down. She's gonna poke her head in like 3-4 times. But like she wants to be wherever I'm at, but she doesn't understand like her space and like.
Gotcha.
You know, she thinks.
How old is she?
Jordan is 6. So she thinks like.
Yep.
Jordan thinks I'm her dad. She doesn't think like I'm Emma's and Gabby's dad and Jeanette. She thinks I belong to her. And I'm having that problem even a little bit. Like she's a great student, but even in school, like because she's predominantly the only kid here now because everyone's gone, she is used to having everything when she wants it. And now it's about teaching her like patience and like you're not always gonna be first. Like she wants to be front of the line. She wants to be the first person at the water fountain. It's like it's as where before 10 years ago the delivery would have been off of me. Now it's like I sit her down, I try to explain to her. Right. Like I said, I think over time that's why I'm glad. Even though my kids are spread out, having them the way I had them has like I'm pretty sure like I hear from my kids, they're all they love me, but they're all jealous whenever like the middle child, they think that the babies get more, and I'm like, of course. Y'all was here before.
Y'all was there before.
But what I know now, I didn't know then.
Right, I knew you were just learning.
And when you came 3 years after the others, what I knew with you, I didn't know with the first one. You know what I'm saying? The first one, I was winging it.
Yeah,
so
of course.
I definitely think like for me, that's been like the most challenging part of me, like finding. And I'm still 10 years from now, I'm learning how to have adult kids. You're
learning different phases of it, and that's where sometimes I struggle, because once you've mastered that one phase, now you got a totally different level of parenting that you got to now have to put on these kids, because now they're at a different age group. Okay, case in point, right? I put out a TikTok video years ago where I had Tyler, which is my 13-year-old. He was younger during that time. He was over my shoulders as I was talking. And I pretty much said, cherish your boys or cherish your kids where they are at now, because eventually, you know, you are their superhero today, but you're going to be their villain tomorrow.
Right.
And what I meant by that was eventually they're going to get to a certain age where now they're combating your decisions, because now they're thinking differently. Their peers are now more prominent. You're now on the back burner. And so the tables have turned. Whereas I remember when I used to ask them when they were young, they were like 7, 8, 9 years old. And you'd be like, come on, let's watch a movie. And they'd be excited to watch a movie, be right up under them. Then as soon as they hit 12 years old, it's something about 12, but 12, 13, 14, 15, you start asking, come on, watch a movie with me. Come on, Dad. I don't want to do that. I want to go hang out with my friends. Now I start feeling some type of way, because it switches like that.
Right.
Switches
it's like
that.
overnight. It's overnight. Yeah.
Overnight, man.
I'm used to, so one thing, so with my middle child right now, just before the transparent, like we're not even on speaking terms. That's the one that she's in her first year of college. Now, that don't mean nobody can bother her.
How old is she?
She's 18. She'll be 19 this
18?
year.
Okay.
Now, my deal breaker with anybody, friends, family, like you can't lie to me. Like that is like, it's like treason to me. So something happened. Won't get into the details, but she just wasn't honest about it. I didn't like how she was moving. And it's like, obviously this ain't forever, but you know, I think that's my struggle now, figuring out like what that conversation is going to be like, because part of it to me, I mean, I got to be the bigger person to understand that she's still a developing,
absolutely,
18-year-old
she's trying
kid.
To figure out adulthood herself,
right?
You know?
But while still holding her accountable, which is the part about having adult kids that I'm dealing with now, like 'cause it's still new to me, having adult kids and like they're navigating life and they're figuring out stuff. But hey, like I know you shouldn't do that, but still allowing you to do the shit and like having to beat it. I think that's the balance for me, because I didn't have that. No shade to my parents, but I was just pushed out there as an adult, and I've been on my own ever since. So like I don't have nothing to go off of, which a lot of us don't.
Of course.
But finding the balance there of like what that conversation is going to be like when we do talk.
Now, how long have you been not on speaking terms with your daughter?
Probably, I'm going to say since about July, August of last year. So you haven't spoke to her, we're looking at about 6, 7 months? Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about no communication, no nothing? All right, so this is my sort of advice to you, right? So it actually doesn't come from me, right? And this is the reason why I'm saying this, is I'm going to tell you this right now. And you're aware of this because we were raised in North Philly. We see it, right? We see it. With me, it's I'm going to tell you, my kids at the ages that they are, now I don't want to talk too deep into it, but it was something where it was disheartening, it was disappointing, it crushed me, heartbroken, everything, to the point where if I didn't have a heart, I would literally have cut them off completely, right? But I was able to change my thinking because I was so upset about it. I was able to change my thinking and realize, listen, they're still kids. Listen, they will still be up under your guidance, under your care and keeping, and you're still going to be their parent. And so you need to give them a little grace, right? And I'm not saying I don't know what the situation was with that, but I'm gonna tell you this right now. I've seen it. I've been to many funerals where you got that one person that is crying their heart out at the funeral because they weren't able to make amends with the person that's in that casket. Okay. And I'm only mentioning that because your kid, that 18-year-old is going to hurt you again and again and again throughout life. They're going to make decisions, maybe choose a mate that you don't approve of. They're going to do something that you're not going to approve of. She's 18. You got to let her go, grow, bump her head a few times, but still let her know that you're still there, despite the fact that she did lie to you. Right. My kids lie to me all the time. They don't even realize I know that they lie. Right. You understand? Like, they think they get something over. I'm like, brother, I did that 10 years ago. Exactly. Okay? Ain't nothing new up under the sun. You know? So, again, I don't know the situation, but my advice is, especially, and it's in the scriptures too, for those that read their Bible. It says, make sure to settle matters quickly and do it before the sun sets. Only reason why is because you do not want to face that regret later on. If anything happens, you see what the heck is going on in this world nowadays. Right. So that's just me. Again, I don't know the circumstances, but my kids done put me through a lot already at 13 and 15. And I know they're going to put me through a whole
Right.
lot later on. But
Right.
you know,
That's definitely true. I appreciate that. Your kids definitely, like you said. I mean, I kind of got correlated to like I'm pretty sure I did some shit that my parents was like.
absolutely.
I know for sure. Well, I know for sure. My grandmother, the one I have, the one I was married to.
Right.
The moment she met her, grandmoms is always, you know, they gems. But the moment she met her, she was just like, that girl's no good for you. I mean, like
they know.
like, they intuition, and lo and behold, long after my grandmom died, like she was absolutely right. But she allowed it because she's like,
You gonna make that choice anyway.
you
Okay.
make-
Case my son's 15. My son has this crush on this girl. I still refuse to call her a girlfriend of his. I call them friends.
Okay.
You know, because I'm against these kids being in relationships at early ages.
Right.
Only reason because I know what it felt like being in a relationship at an early age, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way, having an undeveloped mind or an undeveloped brain at the time, right? And making poor choices because I was immature. I don't want them going through that. So therefore, I'm against it. But if I go against him even talking to the girl, he gonna do it behind my back anyway.
Right.
So I'd rather him be upfront with me, us have conversation, and then him feel comfortable enough to be like, oh, I can go to my dad for this, versus going behind his back.
Right.
See, my father's from the old school. My father was like, he shouldn't be dealing with that girl, cut off, this and this and that. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, he gonna do it behind my back anyway. So I might as well just be there, give him some guidance, and allow him to navigate with my feedback versus having him bump himself in the head 24/7 and keeping it from me. You know, so I don't know. It's different, bro. It's different. Man.
I definitely, I mean, I'm still learning, man. Like
and you're gonna continue to learn.
Yeah, it's right. Like I said, it's a day-to-day thing. Like with the little ones, I think everything for the most part comes easy because I've done it already.
Well, it's easy because you reliving your childhood with them. That's what it is. You look, they watch a TV, you watch a TV. Then you putting all your '90s, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. You putting it all on for them.
I put Baby Girl into Ninja Turtles.
There you go.
She was like, what's this? This Ninja Turtle, like the actual live action one.
Yeah.
And now she randomly asks, like, I'll go on the Fire Stick, put it on, and she'll watch it.
Yep.
That Home Alone, like a lot of stuff that we grew up on, man.
Yeah, because we're reliving that childhood. See, them in there, 18 is got to be difficult, man, because now you don't really have a legal say. Even though you're still a parent and you still could give them guidance, they do what they want. They can make decisions the way they want. You just got to be there for them regardless.
And that leads me to, I feel like we grew up in the last real generation. Like,
yes.
And you actually just had an episode about this. Like, we grew up without, we had cell phones, but it wasn't these cell phones.
Oh.
We had to wait a week. We had to watch TV week to week, and then like the cliffhanger episode came on in May, it didn't come back on to October. Like if you missed the new episode,
you just missed it.
You
had no way to get it.
It didn't come back on until like 3 months later.
Yep.
And I felt like we was outside playing. We wasn't glued to like these devices, and I feel like now, even now, I try to limit their time on the stuff. But I would pay anything to have my kids grow up in that era of like just getting on your bike and riding around the neighborhood.
Yep.
Because it was safer. Even though it was a dangerous neighborhood, but there was a code back then. Nobody was touching kids. Nobody was shooting kids. Nobody was doing nothing to women. The drug dealers were actually like father figures. They saw you doing something, they would grip you up. Like I'm saying, I remember growing up and having neighbors that would beat my ass if I got caught doing something. I come back home. Like now you can't do that because people are like, don't talk to my
Everybody's
kid.
so finicky now.
Yeah, and it's like the block I live on now. Like I'm thankful. Even I don't really let them go outside and play. But if I did, they would actually be safe because this is the block I grew up on, and everybody's like, it's a family. You know what I'm saying? It's like like my power went out like 2 weeks ago, half of the block, and my neighbor, she calls me. She's like, I know you're at work, but did the power in the house go out? I'm like, I think so. She's like, well, if you get home and your power's still out, you and the baby come up here. Oh, wow. And y'all stay the night, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, I think y'all appreciate it. But it's because she knows my mom, she knows my grandma. And it's like it's a family on the block, you know what I'm saying? But we don't have that anymore. So I don't know, like growing up in the last real generation, like how you feel about that?
I feel blessed to even experience it though. Because I can't even imagine growing up in this particular era and not understanding what we went through back then, right? Now, I think the 90s was kind of like the best era of our time. I'm talking about even musically, when you talk about hip hop and things of that sort. I mean, we had a lot of legends come out of that situation, but we also were able to use our imagination and be out there and hanging out with our friends. I was raised on Ellis Street between Ontario and Tioga. And I'm talking about there was like 20 friends. I had childhood friends. Like we was literally the Sandlot. You watch the movie Sandlot, that was us, right? On the block. We used to play football together. We used to create wrestling belts with cardboard and put aluminum foil on it. And that, we were using our imagination and having fun. We didn't have no devices we were looking at 24/7. Matter of fact, the shows that we wanted to watch, we had to wait until Friday in order to see TGI Fridays. You had Step by Step. You had Family Matters. You had Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I could keep on going.
Yeah,
Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
Come on. Topanga.
And Mr. Feeney.
Okay. Mr. Feeney. All of them, right? Saturday, it was the Saturday morning cartoons. We used to watch that. Then we go outside, play with our friends. Everything was different. The cereal boxes. We couldn't wait to get Captain Crunch. We used to look at the back and see the toy and be like, all right, can I get this?
Yep.
She buy it? What do? The moment we pop that thing open, put our dirty hands right down the middle and go grab the toy out. It was an exciting time. Even the books was different.
Yeah.
I keep on saying, R.L. Stein, Goosebumps. Come on, man. They don't make
Judy
stuff
Blume.
like Judy Blume, Babysitter's Club, all of the Animorphs, I think it was called Animorphs or something. Scholastic's Book Fair was popping back in the day. Okay?
Mom, I need $3 so I can go get me this book, that book, and that. Like, yeah.
And a Lamborghini poster to go along with it, right?
Yep.
Pretzel Day at Cramp School.
Yep.
You give them $1, they give you four pretzels.
Yep. You know how much? So baby girl goes in now. $1 gets you one pretzel.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, and then I get mad because I go in her book bag. She want, Dad, can I get $2? I get 2 pretzels.
Mm-hmm.
So she come home on a Friday. I go through her bag Saturday. The pretzels in the book bag, you ain't even touched them.
That's
I'm
crazy.
like, you don't even appreciate, like,
Nope.
you don't even know, like, you don't
They don't
get
understand.
it.
They don't get it. They don't get it. But yeah, go ahead.
You know
I'm
what
sorry.
else is different now? Bath water.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I give her a bath every day. I'm like me when I used to get mad soup. Like because we were outside playing, we were actively like doing things, and they're just not just.
They don't want to do it. It's because it's because of the iPads. It's because of the electronic devices. Like the little one, right? He's 10 years old now, but he's always been on iPad, and it's not actually when he was younger, he used to go outside and he used to play. But now he's always looking at that iPad playing Roblox and everything, right? Now, my thing is this. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, they refused to have their kids on electronic devices back then. They the ones who created it, right? Steve Jobs said he would only allow, if I remember this correctly, he would only allow his child to use the iPad 1 hour a week, I believe. Because they know what it does to the developmental, to the cognitive abilities. They know what it does to that, And my thing is, back then, it was just fun, man. It was just fun. We used our imagination. We had television show. Everything was so simple. Everything's not on demand. Today, everybody has an on-demand mentality, 24/7. Oh, I want to watch this. Boom, let me flick it on. Us, we had to have patience. The new Martin episode came out. We had to wait until Wednesday or Thursday at 8 p.m. to go watch it. And I couldn't even probably watch it during that time because my dad said I had to go to bed. And if I asked him, he was so doggone stern, he wouldn't let me watch it anyway. So what am I going to do?
I definitely, we touched on it a little bit. I don't want to go too far into detail, but I remember we had like a conversation like a couple months back. Like with the boys, they got in a little bit of trouble.
Yep.
And you were like questioning yourself, and we had a great conversation.
Yep.
But how did that make you feel? As far as, because I think a lot of times, it's kind of like when basically saying you gotta let your kids fall and everything. Like where I was saying, like I try to prevent them from making the mistakes.
Right.
Like you don't want them to make certain things you just don't want them to do.
Yep.
But questioning yourself, like, I mean, obviously, you're a great dad. Like, we're gonna reinforce that every time. But how did you feel when, they went through the things that they went through?
All right, so without getting into specifics, I will say this though. Both of my boys got in trouble with the law a few months ago, right? Broke my heart. The reason why is everything that I've done and again, my kids, and I know everybody says it, but when I tell you, I know that inside of, the hearts of my kids, I know that these are genuinely good kids. They just made poor choices that they shouldn't have done, right? But nonetheless, everything that I've done since they were born has always been for them. Mm-hmm. I was living on Ella and Ontario I was living on Ella Street between Ontario and Tioga. The moment I found out my oldest was being born or she was pregnant with him, I moved out. moved up to Ben Salem, which was in Bucks County during that. I mean, which is in Bucks County. But during that time, I was 24 years old. I moved out. I moved out of the neighborhood. And, for anybody that's only been raised in the neighborhood, anything outside the neighborhood is beautiful. So I looked at Ben Salem, Bucks County. I made it, because I ain't know no better.
Right.
So I'm there and I'm raising my boys at an early age out there in the suburbs where all they hear is crickets. They have a nice little park to play in. We don't have to worry about all the nonsense that comes with living within, Ellis Street as far as, the drugs and everything else. So I thought personally, okay, cool. I'm moving them out. We good. I made it. I did what I was supposed to do. I'm done.
Right.
No, that's not the case, because guess what? Even up in the suburbs, you got a bunch of issues. You got a bunch of kids that are not being guided correctly because their parents work a lot of jobs. Now, mind you, where I live around a bunch of McMansions. Majority of them are $1 million homes, right? But with these $1 million homes, you come across a lot of kids that don't have guidance from their parents because the parents are working to pay for that $1 million home. So now, without guidance, I don't care what you are. When you got too much freedom, that freedom will cost you.
Oh, yeah.
And so now those kids are now doing drugs and they're doing everything else. And then guess what? Those kids that are doing drugs are now around my kids and everybody else. And that's how the influence happens when you got that peer-to-peer within those schools. So you're not really getting away from the problem. You're just experiencing a new problem that's kind of undercover, right? So even though you're in a nice neighborhood, the devil working. The devil's going to look for other vices in order to try to trap your kids. Now, it just so happens that I'm constantly on my kids 24/7. I'm not one of those parents that I'm like, I'm going to let my kids run wild and then whatever happens. I'm going to say, they were a great child. No,
Right.
I let them know straight from the door. Listen, you messed up. And the way you moving is crazy. Give me your cell phones. Give me this. I take stuff away from them. I remove their freedom, because guess what? If I don't remove their freedom and try to set them straight, somebody else going to remove their freedom permanently, and now they're going to be property of the state.
Yep.
So it broke my heart when I received a phone call from law enforcement stating that my kids had got arrested for something stupid they did in the neighborhood, right? Broke my heart. Why? Because I do everything I possibly can in order to make sure that they are prosperous in their life and that they have a step up. I'm not busting my behind so they can move back to where I was when I'm trying to push them forward. It just doesn't make sense. And then you come across a time where your teenage son is like, well, Dad, let me make my mistakes just like you make your. Yeah, but you don't understand. Your mistakes is far different from mine.
Yeah.
Because when I made mistakes back in the day, what did I do? Okay, one of the mistakes I did, back in the day, I'm riding my bike and say, for instance, my bike hits a car and now I get in trouble for it.
Right.
Your mistake, you hang around these bums or these kids that don't know how to act, and now they want to go ahead purchase drugs, or they want to go ahead rob a gas station, or they want to do this, they want to do that. Y'all mistakes is different from ours. Y'all mistakes to get you locked up for 10, 20 years. Our mistakes got us a slap on the wrist and we was back outside the next
Stole
day.
the caps off people's cars.
Right.
It's like,
Totally
it's not,
different, man. The mistakes is different, and it's only, and I don't mean to go on a rampage about it, but it's only because these kids are influenced by what's going on social media. Social media is raising these kids to be crash outs.
Yep.
Period. Crash dummies, crash outs. It's the reason why you got all these kids at 12, 13 years old with these damn shiesty masks on, with these Nike techs, where they taking guns and they spraying up everywhere. Why? Because they playing these damn video games 24/7, GTA, where they think it's a game. And it ain't a game until them handcuffs get put on them. And now they locked up for life when they thought that it was game over with GTA. No, it's game over for your life now. You made a decision that you can't come back from.
And the technology now is getting crazy. I got a friend who actually works in like auto insurance, like she's like an adjuster, and she was telling me about like the type of technology they have that can detect if your car was actually where you said it was when they got hit. So I'm like, if y'all got that, and I know it's shout out to the city of Philly for something. The murders are down, but I can only correlate it to them using more technology, using drones and stuff now. And I'm like, it's only going to get worse. Like.
Well, the thing is, right? Back in the day, it was easy to commit a crime. There were less cameras on you, right? Nowadays, the tables have turned, right? So back in the day, when you wanted to do a crime or you were a criminal or whatever, say, for instance, you wanted to sell drugs, or say, for instance, you wanted to commit a murder or whatever, you did it, people talk, or you try to conceal it from people so that way people don't know you did it.
Right.
Nowadays, people want to be famous off of the crimes that they commit. So The idea is it's this stupid game that's being played all across generations around the entire country, right? You got these people that are murderous. They're serial killers, literally, at 13 years old.
Yeah.
And they liken it to a game. How many hats did I get?
Yep.
Hats mean bodies, right? So I caught about 4 hats. Okay, I'm one up right now. And y'all competing to kill people. And then y'all don't realize that all of those murders, you're putting in, you're also talking about the murders on Twitter or X. You're recording yourselves on Instagram, putting yourselves up on YouTube. And y'all so stupid, y'all don't realize that they got a whole division of law enforcement that sits back and they watching and they connecting the dots from point A to point B. This person's hanging out with this person just mentioned them. They hanging out on this block with these people. Oh, we're going to lock them all up. Let's just continue to let's continue to pile up all of our data. Let's go right to the judge. Let's go get our warrants and let's go. And we raid the entire block, get them all up. But they wait for you to do all of this stuff so that way they just capture it. Y'all stupid because y'all putting all this evidence out there.
And most of the murders is done by like 21 and under. Like it's rare you see somebody that's 37 that committed a murder. It's always like one of these young cats that's out here killing people.
Well, they doing it because it's a game to them. They don't understand the severity of it because, again, they're 13 years old. They don't understand life yet. So they making these stupid grown-up decisions, not understanding that they just going to be bait for. And then the thing is, the justice system is a little different, right? So the juvenile system is the only good thing about the juvenile system is the fact that if you do commit a sort of serious crime, like say for instance you commit armed robbery or whatever, there's a thing called adjudication. Okay. So what they do is they will give you consequences, but you have the right or they help you get that record expunged before you even jump into adulthood. Okay. So as long as you plead out or whatever it is, it doesn't follow you for the rest of your life because the whole point is to rehabilitate you before that, right? When you become an adult, it's a different story. You 18 years old, you commit an armed robbery, they're giving you 10 to 20 years without a doubt, right? And you got a record. When you're a juvenile, it's different, right? They work with you. It just depends on the severity of the crime. But they try to make these kids, sometimes these kids think it's a game. Oh yeah, I was in the youth study center. Oh, that joint sweet, that joint sweet, that joint sweet. You saying it's sweet, 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 and they continue to bring you back until you're 18 years old, and now it's no longer sweet because now you with the big dogs.
Yep. I remember when I got in trouble in high school, and they locked me up in the house. I didn't even know what it was for. It was a little fight in school. It probably went a little too far, but they took me to youth study center, and I ain't gonna lie, like it was. I was like to go from at being 17 and going from being able to come home, play PlayStation, go to work, do whatever I want, to I gotta sit in this room for this amount of hours. Then I come and I eat, and I gotta be around these people I don't know. Then I gotta go back. Like that was enough for me. I mean, I got in trouble as an adult, but I never been to prison. Like, and I'm never going because I'm just not like there's nothing to do there. I think, like I said, like a lot of these kids, they think it's a game. They don't get it. And I got a buddy of mine. He's up like upstate. Okay. He's gone. Right. But we talk regularly, and he be telling me about how like young guys come in there and like they think it's a game until after the first day, and they get in there and then like it sets in like, oh shit, I'm not going home. And not only that, your body is still developing. You probably ain't never touched a woman, and now this is you here for the next 60 years. And he said a lot of them like they mentally like they just check out.
They check out because you don't even realize what you did until it finally hits you, because now nobody's here to come get you. Now you most likely your family members ain't coming to see you because you're so far out and it costs money to come visit you. Yeah. And that's what I tell my kids on the regular because, again, I'm dealing with kids that are A and B students, right? I'm dealing with kids that are very athletic in football. They've been in football since 9, 10 years old. Very smart. You get around dumb people, you start doing dumb things, and this is what you get. So, it's a work in progress, though. It's one of those things where, again, I'm working with them to try to better them. And hopefully this will be part of their story where they can say, yeah, I messed up when I was 13, when I was 15 years old. But guess what? I became successful. And I would like to thank my dad and thank my support system, grandparents, and or whoever, thank my spouse because she was there during it all as well. But, thank the people that was there for them. So that way when they, when they become successful, you can look back and be like, yeah, I had my trials and tribulations, but guess what? I'm here and I'm making things happen.
And full disclosure, I've met his boys, and they are some of the most like well behaved. They run with us, well behaved young men like I've ever met in my life. Like they walk up like the guy, because they great runners. They in great shape. Yeah. And the son, like he's staying with me. I'm not as fast as him, but he's just like motivating. I think that's the younger one. I think
Tyler. Yeah, the one with the crazy hair.
Yep. But like just well man and well behaved. So like when you told me like the stuff they was going through, I was I'm like, your boy, because again, like the thing is, like, you do everything you're supposed to. You teach them right. You tell them right from wrong, and you put them in a different environment. Like you said, you find a different. There's still problems. There's just a different level of problems.
And the thing is, not to cut you off, but the thing is, I know you talked about certain things that you learn, and in fatherhood. One of the things that I thought I had it down packed was, if you structure a kid, you raise a kid, you teach a kid, you give a kid good values, give them good guidance. You put all this in them, pause, the results are going to be great.
Right.
And you got success. No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's not like that, because eventually they still have to make decisions when they out there. And sometimes those decisions are going to go contrary to what you taught them. And sometimes that peer pressure is deep. It's deeper now than it was back then.
Yeah.
Okay? Peer pressure for us back in the day, we only dealt with it when we were in school.
Right.
When we came home, we was like, gotta relieve.
Right.
It ain't like that with these kids. These kids got social media now. Okay? So that peer pressure is 24/7. They are interacting with their classmates 24/7 now. Whereas we only interacted with our classmates till 3:00, and that's it. Then we go home and we hang out with the neighborhood kids. So it's a different ball game. So I don't understand it, but these kids, they have a lot of pressure on them.
And do you think we tend to like overcompensate because of like where we grew up at, I guess to make sure that our kids have better? Like, do you think that's a possibility?
I think our generation definitely overcompensates. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? We looked at the way we grew up, right? And I'm gonna be honest, I had great parents. Right. My parents were there, and my parents looked out, and my parents gave me everything I needed. But think about what we needed back then. We literally only had 3 or 4 times a year that we actually received things, right? You're talking about Christmas, you're talking about birthdays, maybe a graduation, back to school, and maybe something during the summer. And that was it.
Right.
We try to overcompensate our kids where they were like, oh, Dad, do you think I get this? And you go get it to them. Oh, Dad, because we knew what we were up against. We're only getting 4 things, But now these kids are entitled, they're spoiled. It ain't enough no more. You get them something. Yeah, but Dad, I want this. Well, I just got you something yesterday. Yeah, but Dad, but this one's better. I'm like, well, I ain't got the money. And then next thing you know, you breaking out into and then you trying to satisfy your kids, go to the credit cards, take out a loan here, do this, do that. All to overcompensate for these kids. At the end of the day, listen, man, we trying to figure it out.
I do that. I had to learn. I learned that over like the last 2 Christmases, because I had the tendency of, when I'm going shopping for my girls, everything that I see that I want for them, I would get it. And like they have beautiful Christmases, but then what happens is, especially when definitely with the smaller ones, they pretty much like the same things year to year. What I started to notice is, and I'm going to try to buy stuff,
they got everything.
You already got this. And now I'm like, oh, Ryan, you're doing too much. Like you got to scale it back. Like no kid needs 15 gifts. Get them 5 or 6 gifts. Put them under the tree, like that's all they need, because then it also allows space for them to earn things, as opposed to just giving them everything.
Now that's the thing, and this is the reason why these kids are going to come out. And I had to scale back too, and I'm like, hold on, these kids, I don't think, they earn, they have good grades, they doing that, which is great. But again, we a lot of times want to purchase things for our kids to see the smile, the look on their face, because it makes us feel good, So my thing is, I'll go to Target, I'll say, you know what? I know my son. I know my kids. I know they're going to like this. They're going to like that. Just to come in the house, say, oh, thank you, and grab it. Now we feel good for the split second. We get a dopamine hit. That's what it comes down to. A lot of times we trying to fulfill that dopamine hit by overcompensating to get them, because we want to see the smiles on their face.
That dopamine is crazy, man. Like in a lot of situations, that dopamine is crazy. What's 3 people that you run a podcast? What's 3 people that you would love to interview, dead or alive?
Ooh, I like that. I would love, if in a perfect world, if I can make that happen, I would love to interview Tupac Shakur. The reason why Tupac Shakur was somebody I looked up to all my life, in every aspect of my life. I'm talking about from not just from his lyrics. I'm talking about the way he spoke, how he was so smart. At 24, 25 years old, this man had so much intelligence. You know, you could just listen to his interviews and you could just tell he was well-read, well-spoken, and always researching. He was not that thug that everybody thought he was. He was deeper than that. It just so happened that thug image was like us. Just like kids, they have different phases of their life. He was still a young man, still experiencing different phases of his life. It just so happens he was in the street part of his life before he died. Before that, he was revolutionary. Before that, he was just trying to figure it all out, right? But nonetheless, even from poetry to his music, to his speeches, to his movies, everything, I would love to just sit down and pick his brain, especially maybe an older Tupac Shakur. Because I know he would have been
We was robbed.
Yeah.
We was robbed.
Yes. Yes, we were. Yes, we were. Rappers nowadays, they die by the day.
Yeah.
You know, back then, the murder of Biggie and Tupac, that really impacted the game deeply, you know, but Tupac definitely is one. I'll probably say Jesus Christ is two. Absolutely. And the only reason why I said Jesus Christ is because think about this, right? Tupac has impacted generations within 3 decades, right?
Yeah.
Jesus over 1,000. I mean, over what, 1,000, 2,000 years? Yeah. Okay. Where you talking about people are dying for him till this day.
Yeah.
People are not renouncing their faith. People believe. So I would love to just say, and you talking about a man, Tupac, it took him 5 years to make an impact that now impact generations. How many years do you think Jesus worked in order to get that? You just throw a number out there.
I would probably say, I don't know. I would say hundreds, maybe. Like,
so look at within his lifetime.
Within his lifetime. You're right. So
how much work did he do in order to impact it?
It was probably short because he got killed young, so it was short lived. I would say maybe 15, 20 years. Like as an adult, maybe about 15, 20. I would assume.
I'm about to give you 3 years.
3 years.
3 years, because think about it, right? If you really study, when you study the Bible, he died at 33.
Right.
He died at 33, but the work didn't really begin until he got baptized. And he got baptized at 30. So when he got baptized at 30, he died at 33. Right. 3 years of impact. Generate so much interest, impact across the world for centuries. Right. Over 1,000 plus years. And think about it this way too. It was so profound because a lot of people sometimes they second guess and they like, well, how do we know if he's real or not? How do we know this? How do we know that? Well, guess what? Those gospels, everything that was written about him was written by multiple men. Yeah. Now, also, when you think about the lives of these multiple, and I don't mean this to be all preachy, but I really enjoy like history and behind it, right? When he got resurrected, right? He went to the women first. Why did he go to women first? Because women are chatty patties, right? And he know that women gonna talk. Yep. And he also knows that women will tell you the truth right to your face, exactly how they feel about you, right? And so that's exactly what happened. So these women started to talk to multiple people and they were like, hold on, he's resurrected now, right? Then you look at a lot of his apostles. A lot of his apostles died gruesome deaths. Why did they die those gruesome deaths? Because they would not renounce their faith. They would not second guess what they were told about him. And they were trying to get them to renounce. So you got people like the Apostle Paul that died a gruesome death. You got John died a gruesome death. Matthew, all of them. I think Peter died upside down on a stake, right? He was hung and he died upside down. He didn't die the way everybody else died. And the reason why is he says, I'm not worthy of dying the way Jesus died. Jesus died, stood up, so they turned it around. Why are these people, if he was fake, why are these people dying for something that's fake?
Right.
They died for their beliefs, which means it happened, which means they were so convicted to continue to preach and spread it. Come on, man.
Yeah, I definitely think I mean it's human nature to question things and all that. And I am a person. I do think as time goes on, they do alter like the Bibles or any good book. That's just gonna happen.
Right.
But
it's human. A lot of human error too. People are gonna do it.
The bulk of it is absolute. Like that stuff occurred. I'm not like a lot of people are like, well, how do they know how to write letters and numbers? I'm like, I really don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna make or break me. But I believe that these things happen. And I was, bro, my grandmother was heavy in the church. My dad heavy in the church. So like I had that upbringing. like understand. I'm not a heavy church guy.
Right.
I pray and everything and all that, but
Absolutely.
I'm definitely aware and I understand. Like, there's nobody that could convince me that there's at least not a higher power. And I ain't even trying to head that.
And that's my thing, because a lot of time, and I'm gonna be honest, part of mental health, you know, it's one of those things too where my faith was shaken. You know, I wasn't, you know, like I was up and down with it. Sometimes you actually start to second guess. You be like, man, why are we even here? Why are we suffering? Why are we doing this? Is there even a God? You start thinking about this, but then you start thinking even further. You be like, hold on. The Bible has been around for thousands upon thousands of years. There have been nations that have been trying to get rid of this book for quite some time.
Right.
Why is it that this book continues to be so profound? Why is it that it continues to be a bestseller? And why is it that it continues to impact the lives of people around the world till this day? Something's got to be up with this book. You understand? If it ain't inspired by God or not. So, you know, rather they alter little things. We all know that Noah had an ark, and we all know that a flood happened. We, you know, a bunch of people got destroyed. There's just stories that all continue to be, you know, the same, rather they change little things or not.
I definitely used to be sometimes I am, even now, every now and again, like a why guy, why person. But I think like my moment.
And it's good to say why, because I'm not, and again, I'm not trying to get preachy about it, but I think Jesus said, knocking you shall find, seeking you should, you know, like continue to search for truth. He wants everybody to search for truth, you know? So it's good to say why.
I can remember like one day I was in a bad relationship, and I didn't. Well, the end of the story is gonna be funny, but we was going back and forth just trying to figure out what to do with this girl. We had kids together and everything, and I remember I woke up that morning before I went to work. I got up, I prayed, I said, God, tired of feeling this way, tired of going stuff. Send me a sign so I know what to do. Yep. I came out my job, out the apartment. I walked around the car, and in front of me was a cut cord.
What?
Swear to God. Now, didn't listen, ended up going on marrying and stuff, but I learned the lesson because I didn't listen to that, and it didn't work out, ended bad. But what I'm saying is now I'm pretty good about, like, whenever I'm uncertain about something or like something is really on my heart, I just, God, send me a sign. And normally I get some type of sign. It may not be the way I want it to be.
Right.
And that's what I'm learning. I'm learning that, like, being like, you know, because I always ask for discernment and things like that. Yep. But what I'm praying for, like, it's not going to come in the form that I'm praying for it. There's going to be something. It's going to be there. But I got to recognize what it is and then apply it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. You got to be conscious of it. This is like somebody says, listen, when you're on the road today, just only focus on red cars. That's all you're going to see is red cars on the road, you know, versus the, you know, not seeing them at all because you're not really focused on it. Right. So it's the same thing with us. Sometimes we just got to put that energy in the prayers or what have you. Like I tell my boys all the time, and I've been raising them to think that way, that you got 4 pillars in your life that you need to focus on, and you need to tend to, and you need to nurture, right? Those 4 pillars are easy. Your spirituality is very key. That has to be the foundation of your life, because there are too many people nowadays that are just throwing their lives away. There's too many people nowadays that are committing suicide, and they committing suicide over things that they cannot handle. And I'm telling you this right now, if you don't have any kind of faith in God, and there's people that are atheists right now that don't believe in nothing. I can't imagine living in a world where I don't believe in something and believing in a higher power, because I'm gonna tell you this right now. I look at us, I look at my hands, I look at all that. We are beautifully made. Who made us? Right. Okay? Everything. This house in which we're in right now was made by somebody. Yep. Somebody that built this house over 100 years ago or 80 years ago, or what have you. There's a contractor that had a name, a company that had a name that is forgotten today because we don't know who that person is. Right. You go to those trees, you go to all of this stuff. Everything was created by something. It didn't just magically appear. It wasn't a big bang. Because I'll tell you this right now, I take a few plates, and I'm not saying I'm going to do it because I ain't trying to have you do your martial arts on me. But I'll tell you this right now, if I take a plate from your kitchen and throw it on the floor and have it shatter, that's the big bang. Shatter, no order, no nothing. Right. Something was constructed by an architect that helped beautifully make this entire experience. So, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, spirituality is very key. The next thing is your physical. Your physical is very key. Go to the gym, work out, keep active. That's going to therefore help you with your mental. Your mental is continuing to educate yourself, but then also continuing to, you know, do these various practices like meditation and all of that stuff. And then finally, especially for a man, is make sure your finances is in order. Absolutely. Make sure that you're financially, because I'm going to tell you this right now, like my boys, they be like, you know, I like this girl over here. I like this. I said, boy, focus on your education. Focus on getting that money. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. When you get older, ain't no woman going to want a bum, broke bull that ain't going to be able to pay, you know, be able to take them out on a date and pay for it, you know? So got to make sure you good. My bad, y'all, for being on a rampage.
Who was your third person?
Third person would be my grandmother. Oh. She died when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why. Damn, everybody I named dead. Okay. Well, She died when I was 6. I know I was a kid during that time, so I got a certain aspect or a certain version of her, right? From a child's point of view. But I would like to sit down with her, go through her entire story, and just connect with it. I think that particular episode would literally just be us just sitting down, vibing, and just connecting with one another. The other two is more picking their brain, you know, and figuring out what was going, like Jesus, what was going on in your head when you was in the Garden of Gethsemane and you was praying, right? And then you had drops of blood, and then next thing you know, the soldiers came. Like, what was going on in your mind during that time? How did you feel? Were you scared? Were you nervous? Did you know what was about? You know, stuff like that, man. I get deep like that.
Speaking of grandmoms, I will say that's another thing that is missing from this generation because, like, I had a great grandma. She was big mama. She made everything from scratch. Like, she just everything. Like, I know how to go without because, like, she taught me. Like, so, like, when the power went out, like, I knew what to do. I knew, like, to light candles. I think there was a time where, like, my heat went out. Like, I know how to heat a house without heat. Like, she taught me those things. We didn't have food and stuff. She taught me how to make bread on top of the stove. Like, she gave me things that she hoped I would never have to use, but just in case.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I watched very resourceful.
I watched my grandma do big Christmases. And she didn't work a job. I was allowed off of a government check, food stamps, and she had at the time she had like 27 grandkids. Every grandkid had at least one gift, and then me and my sister lived with her. We made sure we got like the bulk of it. But she had the mindset: if I can't get all, nobody gets nothing. If it was one grandkid she can get that for, it wasn't her budget. I'm not getting nobody anything. And I just think that's why I have like a greater appreciation for it. And I think this generation, the grandmoms are 30 and 40 now. They don't have big mamas. They don't have grandmoms that are like holding everybody accountable, having the big Sunday dinners. And I think we need more of that. But then that's also us because like I was a young parent, but my mom is 70, so like my kids have a grandmother, right? But I think there's not enough grandmothers in this era. I
totally agree. Like, I think the whole aspect of having an elder, you know, within the family, somebody who is 70, 80, even 90 years old that has the experience, that's willing to share that experience with the relatives, I think that's extremely missing. You know, my therapist, the therapist that I'm connected to, he's an older man. Okay. I wanted that. Because I tried therapy before, but I had therapy with individuals that were my age or a little older than me. It just was not given. Right. And the only reason why is because I know you're basing it off of your education, but I also need life experience as well. Yeah. And so I got this older gentleman. His name is Mr. Curtis. And we talk, and he just gives me game. And I appreciate that because that's what I'm lacking in my family. I don't have a grandfather that I can go to get the game. My grandfathers are dead. You know, I don't really have a grandmother that I can go to. One's passed away, the other one's still living, but I don't really have too much of a relationship with her. But nonetheless, I don't really have no grandparents. Right. You know, somebody that at least took an interest in me. Right. The person that took an interest in me from a grandmother's perspective died when I was 6. Right. Okay. My grandfather that was living, he passed away back in 2019. And that's it. I don't really have nobody now. So that elder statesman, that's somebody that I, you know, definitely agree with you on.
And what was your reason for like launching your podcast?
I love to talk, brother, as you can see. You know, I love to talk. No, real rap. When I was young, I had VHS tapes that I still have today, where me and my sister, we were young. I was probably like 10 years old. She's like 8 years old. And my father had the big old camera with the big VHS. And we doing our show. We got a little show going on. Again, it's imagination and everything. Right. But I always wanted to be like a showman. So I just love to talk, and I love to help people, and I love to talk. And the thing is, people don't realize this is therapy for me. Talking on the mic is therapy. Yeah. You know, because you can share so much that when you listen back to, you be like, man, I can't believe I said that, man. This is something that's good, you know, and I could probably apply in my life. And then I think what really helps out too, and like you mentioned before, is individuals sliding in your DM and letting you know how much they appreciate the episode that you know touched on, or whatever topics you touched on, because you don't realize it, but even though you're talking, you're really saving lives as well. Yeah. Because it might be that one person that really needed it, wanted to just jump off of a cliff, but you were there to stop them from doing it just based on. It's just like you just said. You listened to one of my podcasts and you literally went from 2 miles to 4 miles, bro. I had no clue you were even thinking or doing that. Right. So something indirectly helped you out, and I was just talking. Right. That's the power, bro.
I talk about you on my pod a lot. So I'm like, I feel like you got one of the best motivational podcasts
Oh,
because
thank
you're
you.
always you're always positive and I mean, I try to be as positive as possible. Sometimes I go a little off, but like I want to be like that. Like always, just it's like it seems like, and of course, I know you go through your stuff, but you're not allowing whatever you got going on to like affect your message,
Right.
and you're putting the message out there. And like I said, you're helping people. My slogan is always, if I can help one person in the episode, I'm Gucci. Like
That's
you know what I'm
it.
saying? Like that's it. Whether it's through fatherhood, going to
Yep.
therapy, whatever it is, something I experienced,
Yep.
and I can share my story or what I've been through. I just like you said, you changing lives out here. And,
Thank you,
and
bro.
It's major, bro. But you got one of my favorite podcasts.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it,
my man.
man.
My man has been on a roll. He's dropped 5 episodes in the last 2 weeks. He dropped
we're
3
gonna keep it
episodes.
going.
He said, I mean, he's gonna drop 52 this year, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I'm looking, I'm like, 'cause I'm
I'ma
doing
do
the
one a
math.
week.
I'm like, but it's February, and then like it was just like ding, 2 days later, ding,
Yep.
2 days later. I'm like, okay,
Bro, I'm not playing, and I know you touched on positivity, but the reason why I'm so positive is because I'm 40 years old, man. Okay, and we out it. I mean, you know, it's been mentioned quite a few times on podcasts that I've listened to and people that I really admire in social media. But at the end of the day, life expectancy for a man, and I'm not saying that's going to be the case for us, life expectancy for a man is maybe 70, 75 years old, which means if I go with the life expectancy, if nothing happens to me before then, I got another 35 more years to go.
Right.
I ain't got time to be negative. Okay, yes, we all go through our stuff. I'm not Mr. Perfect. I go through my stuff. I deal with my stuff. But at the end of the day, if it ain't that positivity that's driving me, then I'm going to be living a sad, miserable life, and I ain't got time for it.
My last question for you is, who saved you when you was at your lowest?
Hey, who saved me when I was at my lowest? That was deep. I will say that, man, that was deep. Who saved me at my low? Okay. There was a point in time where I was real low in my life because I was going through a divorce. But it wasn't concern about the divorce. It was more concern for my kids and how it would affect them with a now broken home, right? Of what we could call it.
Right.
But I will say that my mom was really there for me, you know, letting me vent and things of that sort. And so she was always there for me for my lowest. My father was always there for me at my lowest as well. I will say aspects of my sister were there for me at my lowest. So I will say, you know, my immediate family was there at my lowest. I will say that my spouse, you know, Queen, shout out to Queen.
Yes.
Queen has been in my life for the past 6 years, and she's been such a refreshing. She's a refreshment, you know, for me. You know, she's been there with me during my lowest too, and been rocking out with me. So, you know, I will say them, you know, and all of this would not happen without the grace of God. So
Absolutely.
I would say that, you know, I would say those key aspects of my life really helped me out. And then, you know, my kids giving me purpose, you know, to continue on and move forward and make sure that they're good, you know.
The last thing I got for you, I got a newly engaged. You'd have thought like it was my brother or my sister. Like it popped up on my feed.
Wow.
He was like saying like, you know, I finally after this amount of time I made the big step, and I'm like, and like I wanted to ask, but I didn't want to be like, hey, when you get, you know, I don't want to be too nosy. But when I saw it popped up, I think it was. Did you do it on New Year's? Or?
I did it. No, I did it on November 15th,
November 15th,
2025.
okay.
2025. That's our anniversary.
Okay.
So we did it on the anniversary. I kind of figured. See, I was that entire year I was trying to figure out when to do it. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like multiple dates, so I'm like, man, let's just keep it plain and simple. Keep it to one date, cool. She didn't know. She had no idea. She's been wanting to get engaged, but I've been like, you know, I was just trying to figure it out for myself until I was ready. And so I did it, man. I surprised her with an engagement. Well, actually, I surprised her with an anniversary photo shoot.
Okay.
And then the way I did it was real dope because then she goes into a bank vote, which I worked to end up getting from the owner of this restaurant had a bank vote, and I said, "Can I use it?" He was like, "Yeah." And so my kids were waiting there. You know, all 3 of them were waiting there with gifts. And when she came in, that's when it hit her, and she was like, "Wow, this is it." So I ended up engaging at that time.
It was beautiful, brother. I saw that. I was
Thank
like,
you,
I'm
bro.
swiping through the pictures. I'm like, I hit him right over me. I'm like, yo, man, congratulations.
I appreciate that.
I said, I want to be like you when I grow up. Like, I really think, and it's crazy how like life works. When I was young, I had my shout out to my old head Shiz, Sean Holmes. He lost his daughter last year too.
Wow.
But I met him when I was a manager at Burger King, and I was a young punk. I was like 19, 20. He had just came home from like prison, so he was on like a work release.
Okay.
But he was always dropping gems. He would always tell me. So like when I had got out of a relationship, I was just kind of out here doing whatever, and it stuck with me. I remember saying, he said, "You're gonna get tired of that." And when you're 25, you're like,
You do.
I'm gonna get tired of being with different women or this and that, or having freedom. He like, you're gonna get tired of that. And now when we talk, the conversation is different. He be telling me like, I'm so proud of you. Like you really turned into a good dad. Like you take care of your kids. But it's just to say like, when you get engaged, like the older we get, I think as men, I think the way we mature is differently. Like when we're younger, I think we're immature longer than what women are, but we're mature also longer than they are. Once we're like 35, I think we start to want to put things in place like where I want to be here, I want to do this, I want to live there, I want my kids to be here. Yep. I want this type of woman. I may not know what kind of woman, who I want, but I know what type of woman I want. Yep. So, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Like I really don't. I mean, for me, anyone that knows me, it's the most mature thing about Neo is how I date. Like I really properly date now. I really take the time to get to know people. I'm not eager to like share physical energy with anybody that I'm not like gonna be with. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you get wires crossed and all that, and especially having small kids, so you just can't bring a woman into my home.
Yep.
To be around my small kids who are going to attach because that energy is not in my house.
Absolutely.
So you have to be very careful. So again, just congratulations to y'all, man. I just think it's beautiful, man. I can't wait till y'all get married. Like I really think it's dope, man.
I mean, I will say, like it's a constant, if this is even a phrase, a maturing experience, because my thing is this, I'm still maturing.
Right.
I mean, I just have different levels of maturing, but nonetheless, when you find somebody that is a good person, and I'm going to be, straight up, transparent, but I have there's certain aspects of where I have issues and I feel guarded, right. And it's only because of past dealings, past experiences, and life can whoop you behind to the point where it alters the way you think and how you perceive yourself. But that's where the therapy comes into play. That's where God comes into play, because eventually all of that stuff, you put it together, the chemistry is going to be good. And then you're able to be a good husband. You're able to be a good spouse, and you're able to, like you said, determine what type of woman you want to have around you, the type of energy you want to have around you and your kids, and then you're able to prosper. I don't have it all down packed, but I'll tell you one thing, though. Stay away from social media, because social media have you thinking guys against girls. Yeah. They'll have you thinking that this is okay and that's not okay. Stay away from all of that. I love I follow people like Denzel Washington and his wife, and the way he's operating. Man, he has a successful marriage. Why? Because he operates outside of social media. He operates with God in mind.
Yeah, I have never seen an interview with Denzel where he doesn't mention God. Like never. Like he could be talking about a movie, this and that.
He a legend.
Like he like if there was ever somebody that I wanted to come speak at something I was doing, I don't care what it is, bar mitzvah, funeral, what. Denzel, like he's gonna come. He's always dropping gems, and a
legend, man.
I remember when his mom died, and he was like, and like I'm my mom's only son, and I remember he was like,
first love.
Like, yep, a son is a mother first love, and then the son is the mom's last for love, but the mom is a son's first love, and I was like, holy shit, like your whole life, you're like, and like I kind of respectively, I kind of had two moms. My grandma raised me, my mom, but like I do as I'm meeting women, I'm like I'm not saying comparing, but I kind of like, if you can't do the things I saw her do with no money.
Well, you have to, right.
And she didn't care about money.
Yep.
And you do care about these, what I'm saying? It's like I hold you to a different standard.
But also, if we really want to dig deep, right? A lot of women nowadays, and a lot of men too, are just regurgitating what they seen online. Mm-hmm. So I call it the prostitution the prostitution era, right? Only reason why is now you got to pay, like they got to make sure, you got to pay for this. You got to make sure we ain't going to Cheesecake Factory. You got to make sure this. You got to make sure. It's no longer spending time with each other and trying to get to know each other. Now is what can you do for me before I decide to lay down with you, right? And And then you have the men jumping around, and then you have women jumping around. Everybody just jumping around nowadays. And this is the reason why where we're at. It's no longer the 50s. It's no longer the 60s. It's no longer where people actually. I was watching The Temptations a few months ago, right? And what was Otis? What was his name? Otis.
Otis Red?
Yeah. No, Otis, the leader of the Temptations. Otis. Let's just say Otis, right? What was Otis doing after school and high school? Him and his crew was singing to his future wife because he was trying to get at her.
Right.
He wasn't trying to get at her to get in her drawers. He was trying to get at her to court her, to date her. And that's the way culture was back then. Nowadays, everybody's just looking to sleep with each other. And it's so easy now because it's all through the DMs.
Yep. And that's another thing, like with me, like properly dating and stuff, I really now, and for the most part, it works out, like just try to get to know people. Like I'm easily like if somebody's like trying to come to my house, that's automatically like strike 1 and 2 and 3 because I'm already making it aware I have a 6-year-old in my house. So like for you to even think that you want to be, and I don't want to sound like a female, but like to want to come into my space where I lay my head with my
safe
child.
Haven.
Yeah, like why would you even? And so it's easier to weed people out. Honestly, I think when you're like properly courting and dating and stuff like that, and even like. Because if a woman isn't a fan of your courting, I just move on to the next thing because we're not competitive. Like you don't understand what we're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean what you're doing is right or wrong. It's like we're not for each other. And like you said, everything's so accessible. You could just sleep with whoever you want. If I wanted to be on it, I could.
It's
but
easy.
It's
easy. You don't even have to work for it anymore, and that's the crazy part. But it's just the reality of it. But what comes with that? What comes with that type of fast life? You get STDs, you get unwanted pregnancies, you get a bunch of crazies that are now trying to crash out on you and things of that sort. It's just what it is.
I've lived that life, and I like sincerely like. I'm glad. I'm thankful for the lessons of that. I'm not gonna say I'm happy I went through it, but going through that stuff, getting tires slashed or people popping it has made me really like aware with my dealings with women. Just being transparent, being honest and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I just again, man, I think marriage should be. I'm not saying it should be. It's not for everybody, but I definitely think, especially if you have kids, you should absolutely be looking to find someone to do life with. Because even though I feel like I'm a great dad, my kids are lacking from a female's energy in our household.
Absolutely,
right now, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So like, you have to have that balance. You have to have somebody to say, yo, Daryl, wait a minute. Let's go about it this way.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
That could be a compliment to you as well, not somebody that's going to be combative.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because there's certain aspects that men, like unfortunately, I've had instances where I had to be both dad and mom to my kids, and you got to support them a certain way. I know that, Queen, who my spouse, who I call Queen, right? I know that she has, worked diligently to kind of work with the boys and things of that sort. I also know that, my mother, doing her grandmotherly things and stuff have worked, to try to, nurture the kids as well, and things of that sort. And, and their mom tries where she can, so, the boys have it. I just know that, we all want what's best for the kids and we want to see them grow up and do what they have to do. So it's tough, man. It's tough. Everybody's situation is not, the same.
And one last thing about, I'm going to bring the Bible up again. God made Eve from, I believe, Adam's rib.
Yep.
So like that tells you everything you need. Like you need the woman, like you need a partner. Like I point blank period. Like I can't. I mean, like you said, you finagle it, you manage it, but life was not intended to be spent alone. Right. I was having a conversation with a younger lady. She's like a young child. She works at my job. She's like 24. She's like the age of my oldest daughter, but she was like stressed out about stuff and like money and things like that. And I'm just like, you haven't even began to live life yet. Like
you just in the starting phases of it.
I heard the quote from The Rock. I was watching. I think it was on Joe Rogan podcast. He's like, in my 20s I did this, in 30s I thought I knew life. He said, when I fucking turned 40, I was just beginning to understand life. And that's how I felt. I turned 40 this year. And I'm like, I look back, like the first 39 years was like all lessons. And now, Lord willing, I'll be able to double that. And I'm going to take all these lessons and I can live another 39, 40, like great years based upon what I just went through.
I love that you mentioned that, right? Because think about it this way. And I agree. When I turned 40, I wasn't depressed. I was happy. I'm like, yes, like it's time to shake it up now, right? Because when I turned 30, I got depressed, right? And I got depressed because I was like, dang, I'm not where I want to be in my life. Now, I was doing good in my life, but I wasn't where I thought I was going to be back then. So when I was like 15 years old, I said, I want to be a millionaire by 30. Yeah, well, I didn't become a millionaire by 30, and that's where like a lot of the depression came in because I was like, dang, I don't have this, that. When I hit 40, man, 40 is like, dang, I'm 10 years from 50, but now I'm at that age where, I'm making good money. I'm kind of like settled. I know what I want. I know what the vision is. I know what the purpose is. Now it's like you said, it's time to take it, time to take all those lessons for 39 years and time to shake it up. 40 moving forward, because you just reached a certain level of maturity during that time, and that is, that, I mean, it's awesome, man. And we young 40s.
Young.
We not,
Young.
if you really, and I think there was an Instagram post that put a lot of these individuals, like all in the family. What's his name? Archie Bunker.
Yep.
You got Archie Bunker. Who's the dude from Good Times? The father. I forgot what his name is.
James Evans.
James Evans, right? You got all these dudes. These dudes was in their 30s, bro.
Yeah.
They were actors in their 30s. They looked like they were in their 50s.
Hair gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Done. And I don't know if it was because of the fashion trends during that time where they just dress like old people, but I'm telling you this right now. I'm 40 years old, feeling like I'm 20, waking up with my back hurting like I'm 80, but nonetheless, we're gonna make things happen, baby.
And I also one last thing, because I always pray for like guys like protection or to be prepared.
Right.
And like through that, like understand it, like I think I talked about earlier, like where like you get sent something else. Like when I'm saying God prepare me, preparation isn't always good. Preparation could be heartbreak. Preparation could be you losing your job.
Yep.
Preparation could be my car getting totaled. But it's so that when you face this again, when I give you what you're supposed to have, it ain't like you're not coming to me. But you're not coming to me to fix something. You're coming to me for like the other stuff. But you know how to handle it. So I think it's just like I said. I think I'm becoming, as I'm getting older, and like it's crazy. My grandma always said that would happen. Oh, as you get older, you get closer to God. And you're like
It's the truth.
And
you stop worrying about the opinions of others. Think about, look, put yourself back into when you were teenage years, 20, even early 20s. I'm not even going to say your entire 20s. Think about how you always worried about the opinions of others, your peer group and everybody else. Bro, I'm in my 40s. I don't care. I go to Target. I be wearing sometimes I'll be a little off with the way I'll be dressed. And my kids be like, Dad, why you going there looking like this? Look, I don't care, man. I'm coming here doing shop. I'm cool. I'm comfortable. Back in the day, I had to worry about everything. Right. I'm not saying I'm a slouch or whatever, but you stop the older you get, this is the reason why you see some old people or older people that are like 80s, 90s years old, where they don't have no filter because they don't care. They're towards their grave, so they're gonna tell you how they feel about you. It's almost over. Yeah, it's almost over. So guess what? I'm gonna let you know exactly how I'm feeling.
Well, before we get out of here, man, let the people know where they can find you.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at DosCinco The Great. You can also find my podcast on TikTok and Instagram as well. It's called DosCinco Project. On YouTube, it's called DosCinco Network, and that's where you got the podcast, and that's where you have Kadan TV. Kadan TV is kind of like my old show back when I was in my 20s, when I was filming Meek Mill, Quilly, and everybody else, Gilly the Kid. So it was a good time in Philly hip hop culture. It's pretty much like a a time capsule of that Philly era during that time under Kadan TV. But DosCinco Project, I plan on dropping an episode every week and continue to get it popping there. But that's where y'all can find me.
Yeah, my guy's on fire, man. I can't thank you enough, man, for coming through. I really, first of all, I appreciate your friendship, man. Like first and foremost, like I said, that's something else I know is as I get older, like some of your good friends, like or your closer friends, we don't gotta talk every day,
right?
But when we rap, we bust it up, we rap, we talking about stuff.
Yep.
And I know, like I really know, like if I need to call you for something important, like we can rap about anything. We rap before you got here.
Yep.
Like, and I think as we get older, like understanding like those friendships and stuff like that. But again, I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate you coming on, man. Like you're on fire right now.
Brother, I appreciate you, man.
You're murdering the podcast game, brother. You keep me motivated, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to when we get back to running. I know you said we're gonna start running in March. So
listen, brother, let me tell you, and I'm glad that this is a safe place for men.
Yes, sir.
Okay, or a safe space for men. Okay, because I looked across your wall and I seen that your pop is Hall of Fame and karate and martial arts or whatever. And you said that he taught you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad that if an intruder came in, I'm in a safe space for best.
We good, man. He gave me all his stuff. I got like swords and shit, nunchucks and all that.
I believe it. I believe it, man. I believe it.
It's something. I don't never want to have to use any of that stuff. Like even when like we were kids and he would like teach us, I was always a soft kid. I never wanted to fight anything. Right. Because like I ain't want to hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But like, and my dad told me like, he's like, no, I'm teaching you this so to defend yourself.
Yep.
But at 6, 7 years old, 10 years old, you're like, why should I have to know how to choke somebody out or put them in a leg lock or anything like that? But now, ironically, I want to put baby girl in. I want to put her in jiu-jitsu.
Well, I believe every kid should know how to defend themselves.
Yeah.
Like I believe because I've seen and not to continue the podcast because I know you got to cut it off. But I've seen videos of how of men. Grown men not being able to protect themselves, not being able to protect their family, not being able to protect their lady. Right. I believe it should be part of the requirement of especially every young boy, especially the women too, because I know the women got to be out there, right? But especially for the boys to learn how to protect, even if, and it's to train you so that way you know what to do when problems come your way. Not to go bully people and use it against them. No, to teach you discipline and to teach you structure and know what to do in the signs of trouble. You got to. Because I'm going to be honest, everybody looking at me when I'm in the house, we hear something at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I know somebody's intrude or whatever. I got to get up. I got to go. Yeah. I don't want to get up and go. I'm just as nervous as y'all, but I got to go out there and put my life on the line. Yeah. So it's just what you got to do.
And this is something real. This is a shout out because it's about to snow tomorrow, so I know it's about to happen tomorrow. It's going to be a bunch of women bashing men because they ain't shoving it, this, and that. But at the end of the day, again, it goes back to what I was saying. Like, you need both people in the house. You need a man in the house to protect the household. Yep. Like you said, whether you want to do it or not. Like I said, somebody come through. I don't want to have to do it, and I never. Like I said, I don't ever have to kill or hurt anybody. Right. But it'll be you before it's me or mine. So.
Yep. You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, safe space for men.
Yes.
And we here with my man. We making things happen. It's gonna be the next big podcast. I'm telling you, when we blow up, y'all gonna see us on the big tizzy.
For sure. As usual, y'all, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. And until next time, peace.
We out.